You're not stuck. You're just repeating same thoughts, same choices, same excuses, and life listens. It mirrors what you believe you deserve. So if you're tired of almost winning, lean in. This isn't a video. This is a mirror. And if you stay for the next 5 minutes, you might just meet the version of you that gets everything they once thought was out of reach. Let's get one thing clear. Success isn't magic. It's not a lucky break. It's not reserved for people with perfect backgrounds or massive followings. It's built, habit by habit, day by day, and here's what I've learned. If you master just a few simple things consistently, you don't chase life. Life starts to come to you. Most people don't even realize they're losing the day before it even begins. The moment your eyes open, you're handed the most powerful gift, a fresh start. But what do most of us do? We grab the phone, we scroll, we see someone else's life, someone else's news, someone else's crisis, and just like that, the day isn't ours anymore, it belongs to everything outside of us. That one habit alone can pull you into a cycle of reaction. And when you live in reaction, you're always a step behind your own potential. Here's what I started doing that changed everything. The moment I wake up, I stay still, I don't reach, I don't scroll, I listen. I breathe, I let the silence meet me before the world tries to interrupt. And in that silence, I ask one powerful question. Who do I want to be today? Not what do I have to do, not what's on my calendar, but who do I want to show up as? Because when you make that decision in the morning, you start owning the hours instead of being pushed around by them. Then I write down 3 intentions, just 3. Simple, clear, powerful. They're not goals like make $1 million or get 10 things done. They're energy-driven, show up grounded, speak with clarity, finish with focus. It's about setting the tone, not the task. And something incredible happens when you do this consistently. Your mind starts aligning with your vision. Your day becomes structured around what matters, not just what's urgent. You stop rushing. You stop reacting. You start leading your life. Even just drinking water, stretching for 2 minutes, stepping into sunlight. These tiny actions, first thing in the morning, they send a signal to your brain, we're alive. We're in control. We've got this. I'm not saying your mornings have to look like a movie. You don't need candles or 10-step rituals. You just need to stop giving your power away in the first 10 minutes of your day. Because that's when your brain is most open, most programmable. You're literally setting the emotional temperature of your next 24 hours. So if you start with chaos, you carry chaos. But if you start with clarity, even just a little, you carry that power forward into every conversation, every challenge, every decision. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present, and that's where the magic lies. The first few minutes, the ones no one sees, those are the ones that decide who you become. Let's talk about something we often ignore, the people and things that drain us without us even noticing. Your energy is your fuel. It's what you use to build your dreams, handle challenges, and show up fully. But most of us give it away like it's unlimited. We say yes to everyone, everything, every little request that doesn't serve us, and then wonder why we're exhausted, frustrated, and falling behind. I had to learn this the hard way. I used to think being available to everyone made me a good person. That saying yes made me kind, but what it really made me was tired, scattered, and out of alignment with what I actually wanted. I realized I was putting more effort into pleasing people than building my future. That was the wake-up call. You don't owe everyone your time. Just because someone asks doesn't mean you're required to answer. Just because a message pops up doesn't mean you have to drop what you're doing. Your attention is valuable, it's limited, it's your currency, spend it wisely. One of the most powerful things you can do is pause before you say yes. Ask yourself, does this add to me or does it take away from me? Is this aligned with my goals, my peace, my growth? Or is this just another distraction dressed up as an obligation? I started saying no, not with anger, not with guilt, but with clarity. I stopped apologizing for choosing myself, and something amazing happened. I felt lighter, I had more time, I had more focus, and the things that really mattered, they started to grow because I finally had the energy to water them. Protecting your energy doesn't mean shutting people out or living selfishly. It means understanding that when you're drained, you can't give your best to anyone. It means choosing where your power goes so you don't burn out trying to light everyone else's path while yours stays dark. Sometimes it's not even people, it's habits. Constantly checking your phone, comparing yourself online, engaging in drama. These things chip away at your energy slowly, until one day you wake up and wonder why you feel empty. That's why awareness is key. You have to notice what's costing you and then have the courage to cut it off. You have big dreams, a big vision. That's going to take real energy. Protect it like your future depends on it, because it does. Here's the thing, distractions are everywhere. They're like silent thieves stealing your time, your focus, and ultimately your potential. You're sitting there ready to crush the day and then, ping, a notification pops up. Or you remember something else you should be doing. Suddenly, you're no longer focused on the task at hand. You're scattered, your energy is drained, and that one moment you could have spent building toward your dream slips right through your fingers. The truth is, we live in a world designed to pull us in a million directions. Every email, every phone call, every social media update is a call for your attention. But let me tell you something. Your time is too valuable to be spent reacting to every little thing. If you want to accomplish anything meaningful, you've got to learn to control your focus. And focus isn't something that just happens. It's a skill you have to train just like a muscle. One of the biggest changes I made was learning to block out time for just the things that move me forward. That means setting clear boundaries, turning off the phone when I'm writing, saying no to unnecessary meetings, giving myself permission to be fully in the present moment. The world can wait for a few hours while I take care of the things that matter most to me. The first step in training your focus is awareness. Notice when your mind starts to wander. Notice when you pick up your phone out of habit, not because you actually need to. Notice when you're deep in a conversation, but your thoughts are already halfway to the next thing. Awareness is the first step to taking control. You can't change what you don't see. Once you're aware, the next step is to create structure. Set specific time blocks for what you need to do. This is where power really lies. You're not bouncing from task to task. You're carving out dedicated time for one thing, and here's the key: don't multitask. When you're doing something, do it fully. Your best work comes from focus, not juggling multiple things at once. Another trick I use is to eliminate distractions before they even have a chance to disrupt me. Close unnecessary tabs, mute your phone, let people know you need undisturbed time. The less clutter you allow into your space, the more mental energy you can pour into what really matters. Here's the truth. Every time you get distracted, you lose a little bit of your momentum. And momentum is what separates the dreamers from the doers. When you're focused, you're unstoppable. When you're scattered, you're just spinning your wheels. So protect your focus like the powerful resource it is. Make it a habit to build walls around your time and watch how quickly your dreams begin to take shape. Here's something most people won't tell you. growth feels uncomfortable. In fact, the more you try to grow, the more uncomfortable it's going to get. When you're in your comfort zone, nothing changes. Everything stays the same, but change, real change, that's where the magic is. That's where the breakthrough happens. But to get there, you have to be willing to step outside of what feels familiar and easy. I used to be scared of discomfort. I didn't want to take risks. I didn't want to try things that might not work out. But then I realized something. You can't build something new if you're not willing to break down what's already there. That means you have to be willing to feel the fear, the doubt, and the uncertainty. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable, even when everything inside you is screaming to turn back. The truth is, growth doesn't happen on autopilot. It's not something that happens while you're lounging on the couch or playing it safe. Growth demands action. It demands you do things that push you to the edge of your limits. It asks you to speak up when you'd rather stay quiet. It challenges you to take that first step even when you don't know where the path leads. But here's the thing. The more you step into that discomfort, the more you expand. The more you push through those moments where you're uncertain or scared, the more you discover that you can handle more than you thought. It's like building a muscle. At first it's hard, you struggle, but the more you keep showing up, the stronger you become, and soon that discomfort becomes your new normal. It doesn't feel so scary anymore. I remember the first time I had to speak in front of a large audience. My hands were shaking, my voice felt small, and every part of me wanted to run. But instead, I stood there, uncertain and afraid, and did it anyway. And after I did it, I realized that the fear wasn't the thing that would hold me back. It was the willingness to face it and move through it. So if you want to achieve something big, you have to make peace with discomfort. You have to stop running from it and start embracing it. Every time you step outside of what feels comfortable, you're making space for something greater, and that's the only way you're going to grow into the person capable of achieving your dreams. We all have that voice inside our heads, don't we? The one that tells us we're not good enough, that we can't do it, that we're not worthy of the big things we dream about. And sometimes it's so loud it drowns out everything else. But here's the hard truth. You'll never become the person you're meant to be if you don't start treating yourself like you matter. We've all been there. We beat ourselves up over mistakes, over things we wish we'd done differently. We let self-doubt control our actions, holding us back from reaching for more. But what if you flip the script? What if, instead of criticizing yourself, you started cheering yourself on? I used to think that being tough on myself would help me get ahead. I thought I had to push myself relentlessly, pointing out every flaw, every imperfection, and using it as fuel to work harder. But that only led to burnout. It only made me feel smaller and less confident. What I didn't realize was that true growth doesn't come from tearing yourself down. It comes from building yourself up. One of the most powerful shifts I made was learning to speak to myself with kindness. I started treating myself like I would a friend, encouraging, patient, and supportive. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, I started celebrating what went right. Instead of saying, "You're not good enough," I started saying, "You're doing your best, and that's enough." And let me tell you, that change wasn't instant. It took time, but over time it transformed everything. When you speak to yourself with respect, you start to believe in your own potential. You stop holding yourself back with negative thoughts. You stop doubting your worth, and when you truly believe in your own worth, you start acting like it. You start making decisions that align with the person you know you can be. You start setting boundaries that protect your peace and your vision. You start taking risks because you trust that even if you fail, you can get back up and try again. The way you talk to yourself shapes the way you show up in the world. If you're constantly telling yourself you're not enough, you're not going to step into your full power. But when you choose to uplift yourself, when you choose to encourage yourself, you give yourself permission to rise higher than you ever imagined. That's where the real transformation begins. So stop waiting for someone else to tell you that you're capable. You have to be the first one to believe it. Speak to yourself like you're worth the life you're working for, because you are. Here's something that truly changed the game for me. Your mind doesn't just wander aimlessly. It's constantly creating images, pictures, and stories about your future. And if you're not actively choosing what you see, your mind will just fall back on what's familiar, what's comfortable, and what it already knows. But if you want to break free from where you are right now and step into something bigger, you have to train your mind to see the success you want, long before it shows up. That's what visualization does. It's not just daydreaming. It's not just about imagining yourself on a beach with a cocktail in hand. It's about seeing yourself in the exact life you want, feeling it, living it, right now. It's about creating such a clear mental picture that your brain starts working to make it real. When I first began to visualize, I was skeptical. I didn't think it could be that simple, but I was wrong. The more I pictured myself standing on stage, speaking with confidence, touching lives, and sharing my story, the more I began to feel like that person. It was as if I had already stepped into the role of the person I wanted to be, and that shift in perspective, it was powerful. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you vividly imagine. If you can create a picture in your mind, whether it's you walking across that stage, standing in front of a crowd, achieving your goal, you're training your brain to recognize that as your reality. And when your brain believes something is possible, it starts making moves to help you get there. Opportunities start appearing. You start noticing things that were always there but you never saw before. And slowly, your thoughts and actions align with that vision. Visualization is about more than just seeing yourself succeed. It's about feeling it. How do you feel when you achieve your dream? How do you walk, talk, and show up in the world when you've already stepped into that success? Visualize every detail, the emotions, the atmosphere, the people around you. Make it so real in your mind that your body begins to believe it's already happening. Once I started to visualize, everything shifted. It wasn't that my goals became easier, but my mindset became stronger. I didn't doubt myself as much. I didn't feel as overwhelmed by obstacles. I had already seen myself push through them in my mind, and that belief carried me through in real life. The key is to practice this consistently. Take a few minutes every day to close your eyes and see yourself living the life you desire. The more you do this, the more your mind will start creating the path to get you there. Let me tell you something that changed everything for me. You don't become what you want. You become what you believe, so stop waiting for the world to validate your worth. Start living like it's already yours, and remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one aligned step. Every day. That's how you get anything you want from life.